We have a real rarity for you this morning, a chat with the legendary David Gilmour of Pink Floyd, the great British band that sold more than 200 million records. Well, he's formerly of Pink Floyd, that's over now, and he's just out with his first solo album in nearly 10 years. Gilmour had never done an in-depth interview for U.S. television until now, and I traveled to England to speak with him. On his own, and with Pink Floyd, David Gilmour has been making music for more than 5 decades now. In the whole process of the birth of a song and the performance of a song, what's the most thrilling part of it for you?
When you realize that you have a little germ of an idea that is, has, I suppose I can only say has, to me, has a little taste of magic. There are lots of exciting bits. The first time you hear one of your tracks on the radio.
That still thrills you?
Well, you know, you have this idea that there are millions, literally, of people listening to it at the same time as you, and that little strange telepathy of feeling that you're sharing something live with all those people.
Whatever it takes to break, gotta do it.
With his first solo album in 9 years, Gilmour's music is floating out over the airwaves again. Rattle That Lock was recorded mainly in his home studio. How does it work when you start writing?
Mostly I have recorded a track, a song, without words.
It's the San Francisco of England.
Gilmour, who lives in the English seaside town of Hove, then shares his music with his wife, the British novelist Polly Sampson, who for 20 years now has written most of his lyrics. And then where do you go with that?
I walk for miles with it on repeat in my headphones. But the more I walk with it and the more I listen to it, things just start emerging, and the music is so suggestive. I mean, David speaks with the guitar.
Gilmour and Sampson, who have 8 children between them, first connected through mutual friends.
And they sat us together at a dinner party on more than one occasion.
For about 2 years, I think, actually.
They were trying to make something catch?
Yeah. Didn't catch.
It didn't at first?
Didn't catch.
Took a while.
So what finally did catch?
He needed a lyricist.
Gilmour first asked Sampson to write for Pink Floyd's 1994 album, The Division Bell. But she wanted to do it anonymously. You didn't want your name on...
No, I didn't really want to stick my head above the parapet at all.
Why not?
Don't you know?
You didn't want to be a target.
I just didn't really want to be a target, no. Big shoes to fill, you know, Syd Barrett, Roger Waters.
So let's get to it.
But she's filled them. In the title song of Gilmour's new album, Sampson took inspiration from Milton's Paradise Lost. What did you think when you heard it?
Oh, terrific. When she finally told me what it was all about.
Something I never knew.
Another song, A Boat Lies Waiting, emerged as a tribute to Pink Floyd keyboardist Rick Wright, who died in 2008.
You know, we've missed Rick as a friend and as a person, but I think it was at that point that you realised exactly what you'd lost in terms of music. You know, 50 years of reading each other's musical minds. And
yeah, you develop a sort of...
telepathy.
Yeah, I do miss that.
Gilmour was 21 when he was asked to join Pink Floyd in 1968 because the band's lead songwriter, Syd Barrett, who'd experimented with psychedelic drugs, was exhibiting increasingly erratic behavior. You'd been friends for a while.
Yeah.
That must have been hard to watch.
It's very hard to watch someone deteriorate like that, because he was an extraordinarily funny, witty, intelligent, gregarious guy. We had hitchhiked around the south of France and stayed in campsites and busked on the seafront and been arrested for our troubles in Saint-Tropez. And so we'd spent a lot of time. We were friends from about 14.
So how did you feel as that was going on?
It felt tragic. That someone was, because it felt permanent. It felt that whatever was happening to him was a rapid deterioration of his mental faculties.
Barrett would leave Pink Floyd soon after.
There was quite a long period of time when I was basically playing Syd's songs, playing more or less his guitar parts and singing his words. I don't know how long it took for me to find my own sort of voice.
Did you know when you'd found it?
I can remember a moment when I suddenly started liking my own voice. And that was quite weird, because, you know, that thing when you hear your voice, you sort of, oh, God.
Gilmour went on to become one of rock's most acclaimed guitarists, ranked number 14 on Rolling Stone's list of the all-time greats. But after Pink Floyd's success with Dark Side of the Moon and The Wall, Gilmour and Roger Waters battled for control of the band.
Are there some difficult moments? Yes.
How do you get around them?
We pretend they're not there. We certainly don't face up to them in an adult way, if that's what you mean.
Waters quit Pink Floyd in 1985. A bitter legal battle followed, and he wouldn't play with the group again until the Live 8 concert 20 years later. Gilmour and Waters have since reunited at charity concerts. A couple of years ago, you played with Roger. Roger played with you. Are you guys okay?
It's a funny old thing. You know, it's now 10 years ago that we did Live 8. That was it was good to be on a more or less friendly basis again after years and years of difficult times. The charity gig, we did sit up half the night carousing and drinking and laughing, so that was good. There's not we don't talk to each other very much.
You don't?
She mesmerizes with a smile.
As Gilmour heads out on a new solo tour, he insists that Pink Floyd's 2014 album, The Endless River, is their last. You're finished with Pink Floyd.
Yeah. I mean, I have been for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impossible anyway to go back and do that properly without Rick, and there would be no great joy in it. It ran its course in a wonderful way, and I don't miss it.
You don't? Not 1 minute. Gilmour's tour will arrive in the U.S. next year. It includes 2 nights each at the Hollywood Bowl and Madison Square Garden right here in New York.
So interesting to hear about he and his wife.
Yeah, it's a very interesting collaboration.
He's kidding when he says, once she told me what the lyrics meant.
No, he's not, I don't think.
Really?
No. Well, he's, it's a complex relationship in that, as she said, she was very nervous in the beginning because people were going to compare her to Pink Floyd writers, and that was scary. And at first, I think she wanted to make sure she was being his voice and not her own, but she's become more confident, and she now shares her own voice.
I don't know, with 8 kids, how she finds time to listen to music
They
and
actually
take
take
these long
turns
walks.
while she writes and he writes.